cooking that garlic, boy. Gotta clean that out. Welcome back to Transformative Tarot with your host, Phoenix Nebula in the building. And we on the roll today, and the cards are speaking and they're really revealing themselves. So this quiet time and this downtime, I'm not mad at not being as busy as I'm used to being. And this is a one of the cards that one of the first of the fairy cards, the dark fairy cards that I did. And let's talk about Crochet for a little bit because she's a powerhouse in her own right. And today's breakdown is brought to you by the Decepticon or the Predacon, female warrior, Black Arachnia, the Spider Woman herself. And there's a great mythology already surrounding the spider and the Spider Woman and the Spider Man before Peter Parker. You'll hear it in a lot of the folklore legends of the spider and all the other animals. And the spider is like the trickster of a lot of those mythologies and stories. But for this deck, Crochet represents the weaving together. So in that sense, we could even bring in the black, not the Black Knight, the Blue Knight from the Mayan Oracle, which speaks of weaving, the day to tonight and the dream state and that kind of symbolism. But this is a little bit different. The spider with that 8 links this card to the magician, which is the card with the infinite over the practitioner. Shows infinite abundance, infinite potential, things of that nature, but also the circulation of energy, right? And that 8 is a powerhouse number in a lot of the other systems. It deals a lot with the willpower and just power in general. But the spider has 8 eyes and 8 legs. Most of those eyes are useless on most species. So the first take for this is about sensitivity, her sensitivity to the environment around her without the use of the sight. So we're not using the two naked eyes as it is to perceive or make judgment calls of what's going around in the web that we've created. Now this wheel or this will comes from the center of the being, very much like the spider sits in the middle of the web, very much like the Christ consciousness sits in the middle of the wheel of astrology, and so on and so forth. It's the central point where all information is received and transmitted at the same time. If you've ever seen the mating of spiders, there is a particular way you pluck on her web so that she does not eat your ass before, you know what I'm saying, you have a chance to procreate, and then she might eat your ass. So there's a dualistic nature with this spider energy. Being able to carry your home everywhere you go with you. Every night, spiders will, a lot of the variety of the web spinning spiders will reconstruct their web over a period of time each night. They'll actually eat their own web and recycle the energy. So these are all key points when dealing with crochet. But let's get a little bit deeper because this has a lot of ancestral meanings as well, aside from the mythology and the folklore that we already know. Um, just anything involved with the needle and thread, the weaving or bringing together of different pieces, a crocheting, if you will, of quilts or blankets or things that were um, made with a special care. So in the context of the quilts and the blankets, this is ancestral. I had a really great conversation about this the other day about um friend of mine remembers the time spent with her grandmother, and this came and jogged one of my memories because my grandmother for one Christmas made everybody a blanket, and I'm pretty sure I was the last one to ride out, but mine fell to pieces because I rode it till the wheels fell off. You understand what I'm saying? But every time I was with, laying under that blanket or had it with me during those times, I always felt comforted, and I noticed that I've had a lot of dreams as well during those times with those blankets or those quilts that were woven or crocheted together. So even as the web and the spider symbolizes writing and the written language, there is a history that is passed on as well through bloodlines, with this archetype here of experiences, memories. You can put just about anything on a quilt. You know what I'm talking about? Good evening, Michelle. Welcome in. Great to see you on the road tonight. So I'm gonna keep it going. I'm talking about crochet tonight, of course, as you can see, and going over some of the fine particulars. So if at any time you have a question or even another card, we can do that tonight. But I trust that you're doing well. It's good to see you here. Crocheting, the needles, the weaving of patterns, so we can associate this with certain behaviors as well. You know what I mean? It always depends on what cards precede and follow the particular card that you pull and what space you're in. You know what I mean? But for this time period, this has a lot to do with the matriarch and the uh passing or handing down, or like passing the torch from the eldest, the grandmother, the great grandmother, on down to the daughter, and then on to the great granddaughter, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That time spent um, putting those pieces of fabric together and producing something that you can actually hand down after its creation. So this has there's a lot that goes with this, and it always depends on the intention of the person or people who are involved in the creation of such things. So let's talk about the sensitivity. Because most spiders, aside from the jumping spiders and a few of the web spiders, they rely solely on vibration to deduce what's going on in their surroundings. So this is one of those things where um, it could be the sound of a person's voice. You understand what I'm saying? It could be just the vibe you pick while getting into a room. But this card is also saying that this must come from a centered space, being in the center of the wheel, and not only being there, but the discernment that comes with knowing whether or not what is in your web is food, or just some flying debris such as a leaf, or what I'm saying, somebody threw a little candy wrapper out or something. So it's about also where you invest your time in. But sensitivity, noticing, feeling, and deducing what this vibration is that is coming to your central, or the center of your web. Okay. One of the last points of this spider or crocheting energy is, of course, the home is where the heart is at. Spiders have the ability to carry their homes with them, i.e., the webs that they create, whether they be, even the jumping spiders and some of the more rogue spiders who don't sit in one spot for their food, employ the use of webs as a way of tracing or even, trapping prey, but for the most part, it's also used as a protection, like a quilt for the young. So here again is that quilt making kind of energy when you talk about the protecting the younger ones and what is encased, you know what I'm saying, the things that happen under that web, so to speak. Um, the sensitivity. Yeah, we did that. The rings. It's pretty straightforward with crochet. And this is a card also great for this time to help people who are or who have a phobia of spiders. This is your chance to take a new or get a new perspective on it. So it takes uh the scariness out of it. It's usually the grotesque or more hideous creatures in nature and even throughout mythology that are actually some of the more dynamic energies to work with. And it's because they hold sacred information. So you would have to get over that fear in order to access that energy. You know what I mean? To fully embrace it. All right. Um. But this is very much a like I said, the matriarch energy. So this could be your family, this could be somebody you know, or this could be you embodying that energy as well. And to further things, and I really didn't understand it at the time until now, as you can see here at the bottom, she has a pendulum in her hand. We're talking about divination. We're talking about, again, a line that is connected into the universe that helps us or guides our decision making process. You understand what I'm saying? So even the string that hangs from has just as much significance as the crystal, and how the currents of the universe actually operate through these strings, these threads. So you can also think about time as well. The threads of time, the fates as they are called, would weave people's life story on these threads. Anybody who's played God of War, you've seen that firsthand, kind of modernized. You know what I'm talking about, in a modernized fashion. So this is the basics on crochet. Feel free to leave a comment or add on to the conversation. We can always revisit any of these cards at any time, and that's probably what's going to happen regardless, because these are evolving daily. You feel me? Just based on the experience with them, myself, and through conversations with people who have experienced the deck as it is. All right. So for Transformative Tarot, and special shout out to Black Arachnia of the Beast Wars, the Black Widow, you know, wishing everybody wherever you are, day or night, trusting that you're in a good space, and sending it's that time of year. So the channel as it is really about sending out love right now, because this is a time where it's really kind of hard for a lot of people, and the vibration goes down, and we're not having as much sunlight. So stress, depression, and all these different things are somewhat lingering around. Even if you're not experiencing it, it's just one of those things to be mindful of at this time, to get as much sunlight as you can, and finding things to keep yourself occupied, especially if you have to be indoors, building a nice web. But back to that web is also about your network. And your network, as you know, is your net worth. These are the things that you are connected to through that web. you know it's almost like the grapevine kind of energy as well. But yeah, the Mr. Pendulum, it's a lot in some of these. There's stuff that still pops out to me. But it's all about the timing of these things, and why they appear when they do. But that's pretty much the skinning on Crochet, as she is. She's one of the few fairies that I've drawn that are actually kind of like that symbiotic, half human, half whatever a creature is being represented. But this is one of the more dynamic pieces that I did out of that collection. This one took a while. The other ones weren't as detailed, because they didn't have this. The importance of the web had to be highlighted. You know what I'm talking about? It had to be included in that. So it was fun. It was expansive. You know what I mean? But there's a couple questions you can ask. Where am I putting my web? Where's my network? Am I sitting in the center? Is my web clean? Is it free of debris, so I can get that clear message when it comes through? You know what I'm saying? Am I being guided by my sight at this time, or am I trusting what I'm feeling vibrationally through my web? You know what I mean? So this has a lot to do with people and your environment, and how that communication takes place. So this is Crochet, and thank you again to Black Arachnia for holding it up. So for Transformative Tarot, how you doing, Brittany? For Transformative Tarot, we signing off. We gonna find another card to do. I think I got two more on deck that I said I was gonna do before the day was out, and I'm getting that second win. Oh, here they go, right here. So the next two cards we'll be looking at. Hey, you know what? We might as well just handle it now, because we're at 14 minutes. I can make this we can at least do one more. You know what I'm saying? You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. The next one, and she's got 6 arms. she's got 6 arms. Nirvana. And as you know, Nirvana is like that, comes from the Hindu culture. It's like that place of peace, right? That serene bliss that comes from either meditation or whatever modality you're using. Um, in story, you'll just hear her referred to as Vanna without the NIR in the front. But she is an elder fairy. She's one of the kind of like the OG fairies, if you will, um, who's going through her trials, her initiations, so on and so forth. So she would be like a mentor. She would be the energy of somebody who's been there and done that and has mastered not just one modality, but many through the mastery of self. You understand what I'm saying? And although she this is about the balance of things. You know what I'm saying? This is about the yin and the yang is very much present in this movement between where's my brush? I want this big instead of having big fat fingers in the way, we got the brush. This is very much that yin and yang energy right here as she's performing Tai Chi. You know what I'm saying? Even with this hand right here, that is the crane. She wears the peacocks as part of her feather design. She holds a Tai Chi sword. So this is about stillness, um, being very present, you know what I'm saying? Being very gentle as well. And one of the more I just love this piece when I did it because this was the time I was on the Comic Con circuit, pretty heavy, and one thing that wasn't represented enough, in my opinion, was some healthy women. We're not talking about the ones who are skinny with the big boobs that you always see kind of thing. But you know what I mean? It just felt like it wasn't inclusive, and what a better archetype to use that kind of you know, that energy for, because this speaks of the wholeness that she has within. She's full within side. So as above, so below, as within, so without. So she's very full, she's very fertile still. We're talking about the cultivation of energy here. You know what I'm saying? And she's got a lot going on. And what I got a really great experience through one of the readings I had on Saturday. This young sister came on, and when I pulled on her card, she had all these feminine archetypes pop out. I mean, it was 6 of them, absolutely 6 archetypes, all with different, they had their similarities, but they all definitely had their own unique accent, so to speak, So it was like these were aspects of herself. Those 6 images became those archetypes became the 6 arms. So these arms really are extensions of, let's say, an artistic craft. You know what I'm saying? So if you're into music, this would be the singing, this would be the production, you know what I'm saying? Playing the instruments. But then on the other side, you might do a little bit of I don't know, massage therapy, but these are all the arms that represent a different aspect of self mastery or something that you really love to do at the same time. And all of it is within flow, because this whole picture was made, it's kind of funny when I think about it now, but when I go back and think about when I was doing these, it's kind of like there was a criteria for that time that was set that I absolutely recognized. And this one was about the flow, the flow of life, the ease behind things. You don't have to be as harsh or um always overdoing it, overcompensating for things. You understand what I'm saying? This is about being almost in that empress energy where you are allowing things to come to you. Yes, there. Yep. See, the peacock and the feather. So there's your animal totem that she's related to. You know what I mean? Just in this picture. So she's got all this fly stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? And then she's got these beautiful wings in the back, and she carries a sword, which means she will defend herself. You know what I mean? This is very much about uh, really respecting one's own energy and being able to defend that if necessary. But one of the more I love this one. I love doing it. it's one of those things where I was kind of mad that I was finished, you know, and then comes the danger of overdoing it where you want to just sit down and keep doing more, but you end up, possibly really screwing yourself at the end. So it was like one of those lessons. When do you stop? When is it finished kind of energy? When do you pull back and just, let things be? You know what I mean? The oneness, it all extends from one place, which is the heart anyway. Whatever art there is, whatever craft that you do, or at least it should come from that heart chakra. Or it's like having almost, it's like the Midas touch with this. But this is very much in the realms of what Priestess Andrea would call the Zen zone, which is just being in your own world as well. Another reason why she has her eyes closed in here. You know what I mean? Most of the feminines in this deck have their eyes closed, and that's for a reason. It's an internal process. So just be mindful if you're pulling a reading, you get this for somebody like a dude, for a dude, and he's like the, lifting 800 pounds and all this, and you talking all this gentle shit. This is talking about the inside. You know what I mean? This is talking about his inner world. And same for ladies, but you could also attribute the physical attributes as well. You know what I mean? So it's just about how you want to use it, what the message is. But it's like the better the question, the better the answer, kind of thing with this one. Definitely. Also a card of multitasking. Just side note with that too. Of course, multitasking, being able to manage many things at one time. You know what I mean? And jack of all trades kind of energy. All right. Are there any questions? I'm just not seeing the pentagram on my contract, man. So yeah, there's a lot. You got to really, the only thing about these, and this is what Brittany was talking about right here, is and we were talking about the five earlier because right here on her crown, she's got a pentagram. The five has been coming up again, just like the Gabiner Wars, five energy, the five form one kind of thing. Here we have six arms, but still, it's the same philosophy. All these different modalities are stemming from one source. And that's the only thing about the smaller versions of the artwork is that sometimes some of that fine detail does get lost in translation. But fortunately, 98.9% of all the artwork I do still retain. So we might as well take a dive. Let's see if we can get a couple people, a couple of y'all in the back to hold her up a little bit. Y'all gonna do it, and we can take a look at this real quick, and then let's just swing it around. Let's just do the easy way. And this way, you get to see what it really looks like. And even this is still not as it doesn't do it the justice. You know what I'm saying? A lot of art, you really have to be in the space. And that was also another subtle message, was the size of her feet. Really meant to um really put that out there about the gracefulness that goes along. This is an archetype that's been there, like I said, been there and back. What's the number on that? 2019. So she was one of the later ones. She was definitely one of the last ones to come out of the Dark Fairy collection. But that is Vanna or Nirvana right there. You know. So that's basically what these two archetypes are working with. Again, I mean, I guess Black Arachne was just like, yeah, very graceful. That kind of grace, that swan energy, or that, or a stork, or things of that nature. But something about the arms today, there's a lot of extensions and appendages kind of thing. Even with Minosaur here about having, five things come together as one. So this must be pointing towards what's really happening now about all these pieces coming together and, you know, becoming more than what we were at some point. You understand what I'm saying? Whether they be new pieces that we're now just discovering about ourselves, or some of that past life stuff that's coming back to come back online, so to speak. But yeah, these legs from the 6 to the 8, 68, 86, 14, which is 5. How about that? How about that? So change, but also the will, and also about reciprocity and the balance between things with the 6, the give and take. And that's another thing we could put with her as well. She's very much about the giving and receiving in equal measure in all things. Okay? So just a little bit more juice for you to add on to these cards. But like I said, it's in a real time expression of these like the readings, or just drawing cards on situations that they really start to speak. So, have that mindfulness of being the listener and the observer, because they will talk. So, as we get, I had to sit with these sometimes. I've had these for years, but still, you know what I mean? I have to sit with them because the messages will never be the same. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of changes taking place. It's phenomenal. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, what's going on very subtly. It's not like uh, explosions and all this romanticized changing of the world kind of thing. It feels very subtle, very internal process. hmm does anybody have any questions or any cards that we can go over? We're still about 27 minutes. So I can at least set up for the next one if anybody has any cards or any questions or anything to add on before we get out of here. We're just getting used to this YouTube shit again and making sure the videos aren't too lengthy. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right, cool. Cool. All right. So everybody's good with this. But, give it time. Come back a little bit later. Maybe after the cards have presented themselves a couple times and have had the experiences. I love to hear what the add-ons are, all the meanings and translations and things of that nature. Let's see. I can change her in a minute. Let's see. Let's see if we get her together. I forget how to do that. And sometimes that's not a bad thing. But we gotta do that review. Yeah, maybe by next video I'll just do some Transformer reviews. This is one of the better characters from that Beast Wars line, was Black Arachnia. And she really didn't have no side but her own. And it was funny because in the Netflix version, they actually gave her the personality of a like she was gay. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting to see that kind of dynamic come through with her, because she had like a little thing with RC at one point in the show. That was kind of interesting. Yeah, okay. The crochet, yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna sit with a lot of these again and again and again before it's all said and done. And whatever I can come up with, or whatever I discover, y'all be the first, of course. Oh, that's right. You gotta pull this out. And this is a reminder of also why it's important to review things. You don't want to forget how you change. You know what I'm saying? Really forget how you got there. So that's another thing with the importance of documenting and conveying the history, especially when you're dealing with Crochet. She's got the the energy of a historian, you know what I mean, or even an oracle who would tell the stories to the children, you know, by the campfire kind of thing. You know what I mean? There you go. That wasn't too bad. There she is. So yeah, can't forget the journey and how you got there. Because you may have to do it again, or you know, revisit the wisdom that got you there, or something like that. That's what's coming through with that. Get there, get there. But yeah, she's one of the few. I mean, we get a couple of new ones, but as far as the feminine transformers, yeah, we got a couple more. But that's 30. That's 30 right there. All right, perfect. Picking up on the Empress card, so a lot of birthing and rebirthing going on. Yeah, you know it's funny. I was going to do her card today too. I thought about doing the Empress, but it kind of seemed like beating a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? It kind of just felt like that because a lot of the cards, and even you know the last card I was going to do today has a lot about that. The Death card. You know. But we'll say that for another time. And until then, everybody take care and have a great evening. If I don't see y'all later on. All right. Peace.